do you have noticed how Australian cartoons getting really popular the last couple of years? You know me, just Bluey, Captain Koala, Smiley Friends, and actually getting more cartoons later on that not yet fully mentioned because let's face it, Australian are getting very animated. I mean, they really started to understand what works, what doesn't work, especially in the adult cartoon section. And let's face it, this two cartoon from Australia, it's about to be the same thing, but I'm not sure it could be as equally as popular like Smiley Friends or Captain Koala or even Bluey, but it could be. Now, before I start, my name is Retro. I like to talk about animation. Not just animation, I do reviews, first impression, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, I really appreciate you put a like, comment, and subscribe. One of those things that really helps my channel. Sort of obvious because my channel is very small. Of course, I do appreciate and thank everybody who actually do this, all my new subscribers and people who like to comment or put a like because it really does help. Now, let's get started of this review. Now, today I'm going to talk about two specific shows, are basically miniseries or pilots of the channel called ABC Infinite, I think that's how you called. It's basically a Australian channel decided to make their own YouTube channel and drop all their shows on that specific channel. And the fact they dropped two specific anime series, they were basically pilots slash miniseries in case it didn't work out. One of them called Spaceship Q Star and the other one called Day Job. Both of them are actually really good, really funny, but of course one of them is more popular than the other one. I think we should talk about the less popular one first, that called Spaceship Q Star. And that itself is sort of surprising because this show is based on a podcast that got picked up to make it sort of a pilot slash miniseries. They only have 3 episodes. That wasn't really that popular to start with in the first run. But when you watch the episodes, they really are actually really funny, but at the same time, I'm wondering why it didn't have interaction. And the way you keep watching the anime series, you sort of get it. It's sort of a vibe they're trying to grab a sort of specific audience, because this a show is more focused on the sort of the gay community than anything else, but not really focused on the gayness. Sounds weird. Think of it sort of like Boondocks, that is basically focus on the black community, using their politics, but not actually focus on them, focus on the people, how sort of ridiculous they actually be. And the Spaceship Q does the same thing, that doesn't really focus on the gayness, it focuses on the ludicrous of the characters, like it sort of inflate them over a top. One of the big examples, sort of the captain of the ship, that would be episode 3, that she is sort of Burkhard, or not Burkhard, it's more, you can say consider Burkhard, but super inflated, like I'm super cocky and so over the top. This is me, cadet, you could be like me, this great. But obvious, she is sort of unhinged and has no idea what she's doing. It's sort of hilarious. It's one of those people like you're afraid of, but at the same time you're fascinated. And that's the way how to describe the show. Like, they want to inflate sort of stereotypes on the gay community, but sort of inflate them, but in a point it's sort of hilarious, but at the same time sort of interesting, and it actually works. But at the same time, I feel it wasn't pick up any traction. It feels the art style just tries too hard to be gay. I mean, watch the art style, you think you know what I mean. Like, watch the art, you realize I feel they're trying too hard to be feminine or gayish. The art, just the art, not the character or the storytelling, just sort of the art. In that itself can turn off a lot of people, specifically the people you want to watch the series, because it didn't get the people that actually based on the trying to get the people who are trying to make for the show downwards. And it's kind of sad because the show is actually pretty funny. Of course, if you want to see it, both shows is on YouTube. And I do recommend it if you want to see something hilarious. It's really short. In fact, the whole miniseries lasts about maybe 15 minutes in total. But besides that, that was a very fun show. Even that you really don't, I mean, you do get to know the characters, but you don't know how they got the job, how incompetent they are, because the whole gag of each episode is trying to visit a planet, trying to communicate, and trying to make it sort of a very political, friendly, hey, you want to join us? But instead, sort of keep blowing up, destroying. That's sort of the running gag of this sort of miniseries. It does work, at least for the 3 episodes it has. But besides that, let's talk about the one who actually is having a lot of traction, having a little bit of art, kind of having a fan base called Day Jobs. And Day Job, how to best describe it? It's sort of like The Office, the American or UK version, but I have to admit, it leans a little bit more on the UK version of sort of The Office sort of feeling that a bunch of people work together, they don't like each other, you see their own problems. It's sort of, you could say, kind of basic, but it worked. In fact, the first time I actually finished watch this sort of 3 episode miniseries, I really wasn't sure what to feel. Like, I know I liked it, but why? Could it work? Why does it work? And I think it's sort of trying to figure out how to make it this sort of interesting, because I kind of struggle to make this specific video to talk about Day Job, because Day Job, it was a good show, but I didn't understand why it was good. And I think it's sort of kind of slice the life of the co-workers, specifically Ivy, that he is sort of the main lead, and you also have the boss or the manager who owns this bowling alley. They have this sort of kind of, I hate you, but I have to work with you, because the manager of this bowling alley, he's sort of a asshole, but he doesn't realize he asshole. He's think of it sort of like a straight version of Captain Krabs from SpongeBob, Uncle Krabs, in other words. That he is that sort of really melody man that you sort of terrified, but at the same time you have to work with them. You have to deal with this guy. But in the end, he's not an asshole, but you kind of understand he's there because he's sort of forced to, or this is sort of step one of his own plan to get out. In fact, the first episode, he does explain he trying to kind of press the boss so he can get promoted, he gets his own company or own thing. But you have Ivy, the slacker, who could screw him over. But even that, Ivy doesn't want to be there, but yet you feel sort of compelling from him, because it's sort of hard to work with a boss like he has like this sort of estranged Uncle Krabs, in other words. But it's sort of interesting because how the art just grab your attention. You could say it's sort of Tumblr sort of art style, but it's not even Tumblr. It's more feel like Big City Green sort of stylistic sort of art that just grabs your attention. It's sort of fun and interesting how to see this sort of art style, especially they did this sort of like a documentary. Once more, that's why I reference The Office, because you do follow them with the camera, but also knowing each character slowly. Even that each episode is like 8 minutes long, you get to know each one pretty well. Especially Ivy, that you know he doesn't want to be there. He tries to escape. In fact, this works so well because it sort of have this cringe factor. That's why I meant it's sort of kind of like kind of like The Office UK, that is have that cringe factor, but not the bad way. Like, you know, it's cringe if you don't accept it, but you fully embrace the cringe. It feels sort of relatable and interesting and fun to watch. And you have a few moments that actually happen that, like, Ivy trying to get a job at a different place, but using the bowling alley to scout the job he wants. And he see a potential person to actually hire him for a movie sort of production, because he's a film buff. He's want to be a director. He was this close in getting the job, a sort of maybe inside the company or something like that. But the boss came in, made it awkward, very cringy, very awkward, sort of, what's going on? What's this? Like, sort of abrasive, and you see Ivy dying inside. Like, all that movie, like, you felt that, you understand that, at the same time, really funny in a way, but at the same time, I love it how the boss and Ivy sort of understand each other, but at the same time, they don't want to admit it, especially the manager, that he has his own dreams, he want to get out, and at the same time, Ivy wants to get out, become a director. But I love it even more, they sort of show this sort of the kind of like the documentary style, but they also use different animation, like all the movies that Ivy watch on the television. Some of the parodies that you know, but they actually go the extra mile to make different complete art styles to understand what type of film they actually watching, and sort of how Avi explains a little bit about the film. But besides that, that's make it sort of interesting because this only have 3 episodes. Yeah, I fully understand Ivy and the manager, but not just them. How Ivy's relationship with all the other coworkers, how they work, how they sort of fall into it. Especially Ivy feel relatable. I mean, extremely relatable. Like the job you don't love, but you kind of have to till the next job comes in or something that you is grab your attention. And Ivy is sort of doing that, but also struggling because how everything expensive, how she's trying to figure out how to get away with it. But at the same time, his relation with his own manager, judging him, but at the same time, kind of wants to help. Like they have this sort of weird relationship, like sort of like a disappointing father of his own son, but he trying to help out, but he doesn't know how to. He sort of tries to sort of awkwardly, and that's I think that's best to describe their relationship. And believe me, the whole miniseries, these 3 episodes, works really well. It's really relatable, really funny. The only problem is you have to get used to the accents if you're American. That sort of Australian accent, you're okay with that. It will probably work for you. Also, the other Cute Star podcast animated series also is very Australian. I mean, both of them are feels extremely Australian, but it never feels sort of blockish. Like it never feels like you have to understand the politics or references of Australian culture. You don't need anything of that. Both shows are fine. Of course, you want me to recommend one or the other. I rate both of them. Even try Star Q. That is sort of maybe not for you. Maybe it is. You never know. It's one of those things that I've seen a lot of anime series that some of them I thought I would never like, but I do like. In the shows I thought I would like, I despise. Both of them I did enjoy. Just I felt they needed more episodes. It's sort of obvious animation is very expensive. In fact, I'm kind of wondering how many of you seen these 2 miniseries because it's sort of kind of not the most viewed shows on YouTube, especially anime series, especially if you don't know both of them go picked up. Obvious Spaceship 2 will not picked up how very small view counts, but Day Job does have sort of the views, not really a lot, but slowly getting a small fan base using art styles. In fact, you could actually follow the creator of Day Job on X/Twitter. That you can easily find it. Just put Day Job, and you automatically see his channel. He explains a lot how the production actually was made, especially. He was sort of told this was sort of a mini series, so he did what he can to actually sell this. Especially if you don't have a much budget for it. Like both series did not have the budget for it, but they made it work however they can. But it's something that if you want to see the anime series, is up to you. I both highly recommend it. Try both. You never know. You maybe like Space Q more than Day Job, or you like more Day Job Space with Q. That's just something I just recommend. I really have much to say, just recommendation of both of them. Both of them are not that very long. They basically less in 15 minutes, both of them. So you're not gonna waste that much time. But besides that, I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.